Alright everyone, welcome to 2.5 part 3, the half angles formula. And it says find all solutions to 2 minus sine squared x equals 2 cosine squared x over 2 on the interval from 0 to 2 pi, including 0 but not 2 pi. So what we're going to do first is, let's look right here. I got cosine squared x over 2, so I'm going to use the half angle formula right there, and that's the only spot I'm going to need to use it. So now let's go over to here and find out. Cosine is right here, so we're going to rewrite that cosine of x over 2 with that formula. So everything else stays the same. So it's going to be 2 minus sine squared x equals 2. And then I'm going to rewrite that cosine squared of x over 2 as plus and minus the square root of 1 plus. And notice how the a is the numerator, a is the numerator, so it's going to be cosine x, and then it's all over 2. Alright, now the other thing I have to remember to do right here is I am squaring this because I've got a square right there. So you don't always do this square, but I'm going to do it because I've got a cosine squared. So if you just had like a sine of x over 2, you wouldn't be squaring it. Now, let's look at this next and say, if I got a plus and minus a square root, a square and a square root cancel out, and if I square anything, it's always going to be just the positive. So I should end up with 2 minus sine squared x equals that 2. And now everything in here is going to go away, including the square root and the plus or minus, because I don't care about the plus and minus because I squared it, which makes it positive. So it's going to be 1 plus cosine x all over 2. Alright. Now if I have this 2 and this 2, what should happen when you have a multiply by 2 and divide by 2? That's right. They cancel out. So I've got cosines over here. I've got a sine squared. I can't do anything with both of them if I want to solve it. So I have to move one of them to either be sine or cosine. I can't do much with that one, but I can change sine squared into a cosine squared. So let's do that right now. We've got 2 minus sine squared is the same as 1 minus cosine squared x. And that's going to equal 1 plus cosine x because those canceled out. So now I'm going to distribute that subtract to both of them. So it should be 2 minus 1 plus cosine squared x equals 1 plus cosine x. Now I've got everything in terms of sines, or just in terms of cosines. Let's get it all equal to 0, and then we can solve for x. So I've got 2 minus 1, which is 1 minus 1 is going to be nothing. So the numbers are going to cancel out. And I'm going to have cosine squared x minus cosine x equals 0 because I just subtracted that cosine x from both sides. Alright, so from here, what do they have in common? They have a cosine, so I'm going to bring that cosine, bring it out in front. I'm left with cosine x minus 1 equals 0. Alright, if I distribute that back in, I should have it to look like it did on the previous line. So now we just break it up into two parts. Cosine x equals 0, or cosine x minus 1 equals 0. So now, when does cosine x equal 0? Well, let's go here onto our unit circle. Equals at pi over 2, and then down at 3 pi over 2. So from this one right here, we can say we've got answers at pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. And then this one, add 1. When does cosine x equal 1? And we go back over here. There's only one time here, because on the other one, it's going to be a negative 1. So the only other option, and if you say, well, it's either 0 or 2 pi, look back to what the question was asking. The question was saying, we want to look at the interval 0 to 2 pi, including 0, but not including 2 pi. So our answer right here is going to be 0. So we've got 0, 3 pi over 2, and pi over 2. Because it's only once around the unit circle, we don't have to include any other answers. All right, so here is your assignment. Find the exact value of sine 105 degrees. Here's what you should do. First hint, use the half angle formula. Here's a double hint. 105 degrees is half of what number? That number, whatever it is, after you find it, is going to be this a value, or in your book it is u. So use those numbers to figure out the exact value of sine 105. Good luck!